The Madman! Welcome to the custom cards of the week from the Custom Hearthstone subreddit. Camera Bot. 4 mana, 3/4, battle cry, start recording, death rattle, stop recording, and shuffle the tape into your deck, which replays every card you've played during the recording, targets chosen randomly. It takes a bit of setup, but I think based off of Tess's power level, I can conclude that Camera Bot isn't too OP, even though I've tried to break it with stuff like returning Camera Bot to your hand, or cloning Camera Bot. None of it seems too OP. So it seems underpowered, but you could make it the right power level by just buffing the tape. But it is cool design. Of course the goal is to play the Camera Bot and play your most powerful things, expect your opponent to kill the Camera Bot, hopefully don't silence it, and then you play the tape at a later turn. So for design, I rate it 4 stars. The reason for the star deduction is going to be, and I'm going to start deducting points for this, I think that the flavor is very poor. There's no reason that a tape would be able to be so powerful in the world of Warcraft or Hearthstone. For balance, I give it a 2 stars. For being drastically underpowered, you'd have to really reduce the mana cost of the tape by quite a bit. An animated encounter. 1 mana, discover a common minion. Summon a pirate to change the story. Note, I think it should be summon a pirate to improve the story, or to upgrade the story, something like that. Upgrades to a hard-fought battle, discover a rare minion, summon a pirate to change the story. A 1-man victory, discover an epic minion, summon a pirate to change the story. You won't believe me, discover a legendary minion. So it's kind of like one of those Spellstone type cards. You do something and then it upgrades. The something that you have to do is very minor, and the upgrade is also very minor because it's not even a distinct advantage to have discover a legendary minion over discover a common minion. So the main problem with this card is that the flavor is oozing. I love the design on this one, 5 stars. But it's costed at 1 for discover a card, and throughout Hearthstone there have been discover a card for 1 mana. This is one of the ones that discovers from a deep enough random pool that it wouldn't be played. So I'm going to reluctantly give this a 5-star in balance from the perspective of I completely think that this card would be an excellent card to print in Hearthstone. And though it might not see much competitive play, it has a small chance, and it obviously isn't drastically weak because I don't think there's anything you can change about it to keep the flavor of it and the elegance and simplicity of it. Love Me. Restore 8 health to a friendly character, give your opponent Love Me Not. Love Me Not is a 1 mana, deal 4 damage, give your opponent Love Me. So it's a constant throw of cards between you and your opponent in theory. It goes infinite. Your opponent gets the better card because 4 damage is better than restore 8 health to a friendly character. Maybe it's to you against an aggro deck. Your opponent can always just hold Love Me Not until the end, and then just use the 1 mana to deal 4 damage to you, effectively making this a 1 mana restore 4, which is terrible. So I'm gonna rate this card a 4 for design, even though I like the idea of a spell that gives your opponent a evil version of the spell, which when they play it gives you back a good version of the spell. I'm gonna dock a point on the fact that a priest card spell called Love Me just does not make any sense. I know this is kind of a design name and a clever play, but Love Me does not make any sense for a spell name. In terms of balance, I'll give it 1 star because it's pathetically weak. Soulweaver Khanix for Warlock. 3 mana, 3/2, battle cry, add an echo of all cards you have discarded this game to your hand. I thought the wording was a little bit unclear on this one. I think it should read, add a shadow reflection of all cards you have discarded this game to your hand, because the shadow reflection more properly reflects that you can only play the spell once, whereas Echo, as I first looked at it, I thought, oh man, those cards you discard are gonna have Echo, I'm just gonna Soulfire the opponent 7 times after playing it, OP. But no, that's not how the card works. And I think it's really good design because your discard cards, oh, you never had a chance to play them, how very sad. But Soulweaver Khanix gives you that chance to replay them in case you discard something key, but it has to be 7 mana or under, so you still can't play your Blood Reaver Gul'dan when you always discard it with Doomguard.
You fool!
I don't think it's too overpowered because 3 mana, 3/2 draw a card that you have to play this turn isn't overpowered, and maybe you can get 2 cards off of it, but you have to get it out pretty late. In fact, I think it's a little bit on the weak side, and currently it wouldn't see any play. So for design, I would give it 5 stars. For balance, I would give it 4 stars. I feel like you could change, play around with the mana cost and get it to get somewhere interesting. Like maybe a 2 mana 2/2? Tinderling! Druid card, 5 mana 2/2, choose one, cast swipe on the opponent's left or rightmost minion. I think that this is a really clever card, play on Tinder of course. It's a positioning matters card, which I love, and it incorporates choose one really well. So for design, I'm gonna give it a 5 stars. What a very clever card. For balance though, I'm giving it 4 because I think that it is a bit overpowered right now. Even though you can't cast a swipe on the opponent's face, adding 1 mana 2/2 to a card as good as swipe would be too imbalanced. And I challenge you guys to a thought experiment. Think of any card that is like of medium cost, add 1 mana to it, and then like have it also summon a 2/2. And you'll see that it's probably like ridiculously overpowered. So therefore, I just think it has to have one of the stats get hit for a little bit. And also, there's such a thing as critical mass of swipe. Most druid decks run 2 swipe right now, so adding in Tinderlings as well, and making it so that the druid decks have 4 swipes, that's quite a headache in itself, and might actually be an even bigger problem than the card itself being too powerful. Polybomb! 6 mana mage card, choose a minion, transform adjacent minions into copies of it. It's named Polybomb because you can polymorph the opponent's minion and then polybomb it. It's more flexible than that though. You can polybomb your own card and then transform adjacent minions into that card. So you polybomb one of your like super good cards, or maybe you polybomb your sorcerer's apprentices. It's currently too weak though. I would say it definitely compares pretty poorly to Meteor in terms of removing stuff from your opponents. And in terms of combo potential, I didn't see very much. I thought about would it be too dangerous to lower the mana cost down to 5. You could do Leroy Wisp Wisp, polybomb your Leroy, and then charge in for 18, but I think that's fine. So I think that the card could be 5 mana, it could even be 4 mana possibly. So for design, I'm gonna rate it 5 stars. For balance, I'm rating it 3 stars. It's a bit off the mark on too weak. Cry Wolf, a hunter card that cleverly plays with Echo. Summon a 1/1 sheep, future copies this turn summon a 3/3 wolf. So you're getting a 1/1 and a 3/3 for 4 mana, which isn't that good, but you could play it as that. 6 mana though is where it gets interesting. You start getting like a 7/7 for it in stats, 2 3/3s and a 1/1. That's fair. 8 mana, you could get 10/10 worth of stats, and finally 10 mana, you get 13/13 worth of stats. I think the card is a little bit on the strong side, but I don't think it's too much over the top to be insane. Old Call of the Wild was 8 mana, and you summoned 10 health and 12 attack worth of stuff, counting Leok's buffs on the Huffer and the Misha. Cry Wolf, 10/10 of stats for 8 mana, but none of it has charge. And using that as kind of a baseline, I can see, it's not that overpowered, if it is, by too much. So I'm gonna give that a balance pass, and I'm gonna say design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. Now we got another hunter card here. Team Tagger, 3 mana 2/3 battlecry, bond with a beast. While both are alive, they have +1/+1. Now, one small thing I would change is probably bond with a friendly beast. Or maybe forbidden bonding is fine. Maybe. Oh, yeah! It's really flavorful in Hunter. I really like the design of it. And I'll give it 5 stars for design. For balance, I'm also going to give it 5 stars. I think it's a very fair card. Looking at it from a optimistic point of view, it's a 3 mana 4/5 worth of stats, which is obviously really good, but the requirement of having a beast on the play and it dropping by an extra 2 slot stats when the beast is dead, it's just a really cool design. The only thing I would change about it is I think that the name is a bit weak. Next up for mage, we have a mage quest, the perfect specimen. Quest, transform a sheep into a sheep. Reward D077Y. So Dolly over here is a 5 mana 3/3 immune. So for those of you who don't know what immune means, it means can't be targeted by the opponent, can't be damaged at all, and if it has taunt, opponent can bypass the taunt. So transforming a sheep into a sheep is not an easy thing to do in standard, since Potion of Polymorph is out. You really only have Polymorph. I'm going to give this card the benefit of the doubt and say that another card with a sheep-like effect would have to be printed in order to also have this card be printed. The design though on this is still a little bit problematic in the sense that a minion that can't be interacted with really, which would eventually kill your opponent, like that's a little bit unfun. Design, I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Balance, I'm giving it question mark? It depends a lot based off of how easy it is to transform a sheep into a sheep. Right now, it's impossible because we only have Polymorph. I think that the reward itself should probably be a bit stronger also. Like maybe a 4/4. Next up for Hunter. 4 mana Lunar shot. Deal 4 damage to an enemy and any excess to all other enemies. If you're dealing with a 4 health or more minion, then you just deal 4 damage to that minion. 3 health minion means you are casting Swipe basically on that minion. The minion will die, 1 damage to everything else. 2 health minion, you're basically casting Consecration. And 1 health minion is where it gets quite a bit OP. Death and Decay, the Death Knight spell, basically. So when you consider that Swipe and Consecration are both really good, and dealing 3 to everything the opponent controls, probably something that's worth around 5 or 6 mana. This card is a bit too powerful, would probably push Spell Hunter way over the top. I do like the design a lot on this. It's a modular spell, has a lot of different things, skill testing. 5 stars on design. For balance, I think it's undercosted by mana. Should probably cost 5. So I'll give it 3 stars. And finally, we have 2 mana, Show Off. Rogue spell, draw 2 cards and reveal your hand to your opponent. I think that's really cool design as well. I think a drawback like that combined with card draw is a really good idea. I like the simplicity of it. I feel like its design is a little bit off though because rogues are a bit more subtle and they don't really show off that much, unlike what you might expect. Like, clearly we're showing off something a bit different here. 4 stars on design. For balance, this card is absolutely insane and would be run in every single rogue deck and would be OP. It turns out that revealing your hand to your opponent isn't that big a drawback. In fact, I was thinking about, would this be played even at 3 mana? And I think it would actually still see play at 3 mana. Yes, I know it's a strictly worse Arcane Intellect, but it is for rogue and Arcane Intellect is only for mage. And boy, do Miracle Rogues love drawing cards. 2 stars. I also think an interesting idea might be transferring this card into a weak class such as Warrior. Warriors are probably better known for showing off. So you might have noticed that I gave almost all the cards in this week a high design of like 4 or 5 stars. And I guess that's not really a surprise considering that these are the custom cards of the week. I thought that they all explored very interesting subjects. The end.